Hi.
Hey.
Yeah.
Today we have Amber Lopez Jackson Miller, or Amber Miller, and Pamela is back. Yay!
Yay! Oh my gosh, the struggle's real. I've been down for the count for 2 days. So.
Oh, wow.
There's a
Amber,
great
you
photo
have as
of
many kids as you have names.
I do. I've been married 2 times. It tends to happen. It kind of gets tagged on the end.
I'm right there too. I'm right there with you. So.
Amber has she is like one of the busiest people I know. She has 4 children. The newest one's like how old? How many months old is he?
6 months last Saturday.
6 months old. Oh,
yeah.
And I haven't had any baby photos recently, but still. And then she also,
I'm talking about hot flashes, and she's got 6 months old.
Yeah.
And then she also goes to school full time, and she's going to become a physical therapist, and she's also shadowing with that, and she's a full-time trainer, and she does programming for people like me who no longer live in California, so that there's no excuse to not be fit. So Amber's got all sorts of, and she's ex-Navy. So.
and thank you for your service.
Many
moons ago, though.
Yeah, but thank you still. I mean, that's a brave and courageous thing to do, especially as a woman. So.
And she's and like you can tell doing the workout, she's ex-Navy. I mean, there is like I did a spin class with her some mornings. She starts at 5 in the morning, so we used to do the spin class, and then she would up it and up it and up it, and then say, "You're welcome."
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And she has
my favorite
too. So
definitely missing those classes for sure.
So Amber,
and you're probably a stay-at-home teacher now too, like having to do like home schooling. Also,
tell you, I love my children to pieces, but I will never be a teacher. No.
Yeah.
And I'm forced into it right now, and I'm making the most of it. But it's a struggle with 3 different kids in 3 different grades.
To try to get them all together.
And my own at Sac State, so.
Yeah. Right. I don't know how. Like there's a whole transition, I think, which is why Dr. Gill and I are doing this thing. There's a whole new place that we're at in life where, and we don't know how long this is going to go on for, or how much that transition. Some things might stick, and that might be what we're doing for a long time. So, we kind of came together and said, how can we bring resources together for people, at no cost or whatever, to just say, hey, we're with you. We understand. We're going through the same things, and here are a bunch of people that we trust that are going through the same things also. And these are the expertise that they can offer that might help us all kind of just get through it and stay alive,
Yeah, and I did Amber's fitness program when I was in California, and I lost 20 pounds and I was not very compliant and doing it properly, but even just like doing what I did, I still lost 20 pounds, and that's never come back on. And I got fitter, and so her workouts really, and I never got injured, not one time. And I've been a martial artist. Hopefully it's still in my blood, but I competed twice internationally and won gold twice, and I'm used to pushing things to the envelope and getting injured. But with Amber, I didn't get injured. I would push things way past where I was comfortable, and she was like, it's an excuse, you can do more. And she would push me, and I got so much fitter, but without getting injured. And that's why I think Amber's one of the best trainers, that she pushes you, but not so you get hurt. And that's very hard to do by yourself, like knowing how much you can push without getting hurt. How do you do? What's your secret?
Well, first off, I use the heart rate monitors, which I'm sure you remember me strapping to you every time you walked in the gym. So I kind of monitor your heart rate the whole time. I also have a philosophy of just kind of talking to you when you first walk in a gym, asking you, how you feel about your body, if you have any aches and pains. If you do have pain, we usually try to work on it with some mobility and stretching at the end of the session. But we generally avoid that area too if you're injured. That's kind of where the physical therapy comes into this, just knowing the human body, knowing the limits, knowing what the joints can do, the muscles can do, and just try to minimize injury at the same time as getting a workout.
So you tend to tailor your workouts for each individual. So like, how do you like if it's an online thing though, how what's the best way? Because I started with you one-on-one, but for you program for a lot of people. Like own programs for them. So how do you assess when somebody's just joining you and they're not with you, like what they can do? How are you, like, do you do a video call or do you get some measurements? Like, how do you start off?
I don't do the body composition measurements because I can't be there physically with them in time. I do refer them sometimes out to their doctor to get some skin fold measurements, or some facilities offer that type of body composition if they're interested in that. But generally the programming, I don't prescribe any weights because I'm not there to watch their form the whole time. So they're kind of progressing the weight specifically at their own, on their own. I do offer them to send me videos of the exercise they're doing so I can kind of assess it while they're doing it.
Correct stuff. Yeah.
While they're doing it. But I mean, and there's videos for everything. So I'm in the process now. I have a video library on the app that I use, and there's thousands and thousands of exercises, and I'm trying to replace all of them with myself doing the videos, so that there's no, sometimes that the video doesn't correlate to the exercise because I don't have time to watch 2 to 5 minute videos for all those thousands of exercises on there. Generally they match pretty well, but if you have any questions, if any of my clients have questions, I have clients in New York, they message me all the time and saying, what did you mean by this? Or can I substitute a different exercise for this? And I always ask for feedback because I can't adjust the program unless I have feedback from you guys. I need you to tell me, did it hurt? You know, was it too hard? Was it too easy? This made my knees hurt.
The answer for folks is you have to always tell her it hurts, and she wants it to hurt.
That hurts. It was enough that you were tired. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that with you.
She's very disappointed if you're not sore.
Well, that's the whole idea, right?
If you're sore.
I mean, that's the whole idea, is that you want to break the muscle down so that it repairs itself.
Right. I mean, that's what exercise initially does. It creates little micro tears in your muscle, and then the cross-sectional area comes back bigger and stronger.
And I think even with this like COVID thing that's going on, like we're all kind of being pushed to a limit, you know, that will make us all stronger, I believe, at the end of this, because we are being pushed to that, you know, to that limit to have to do things a little bit differently.
Yes.
You know? And
but a lot of people are used to going to the gym, or well, they should be used to going to the gym, or they're used to like at least walking at work, you know, and lifting things and doing things at work. And if that's not happening, your muscles are atrophying, they're shrinking down.
Right.
You actively have to make time to exercise. And a lot of people don't know what to do because there's so many things out there. Like, okay, which trainer should I go with? Which workout should I follow? Like which yoga plan? And I know, like I've done yoga teacher training twice, and yoga can hurt you, you know?
Yes, it can.
Yeah. Especially your back. You like some of the stuff can put your joints out or stretch too much. So you have to try to get feedback in some manner to make sure you're doing the right thing. Like all great athletes have coaches, you know, it's like coaches are so important and to get the feedback so you don't get injured, but you're still making progress.
Right.
And so anyway, that's my two.
But well, no, I wanted to just comment on that just so that I wasn't misunderstood when I say make us stronger. Definitely not our bodies, because I'm atrophying. My muscles are atrophying. I'm normally like somebody who's in the gym at least 3 or 4 times a week, and I have my own like routine. But now that gyms are closed, where we are, you know, I'm not able to do that. So I'm definitely seeing like, you know, haven't gained any weight, but my skin is like hanging there now where my muscle used to be. So I don't mean stronger in that regard. I mean stronger in just like overcoming obstacles. And so same with like the military, you know, you have to kind of be pushed to your limit in order to know what your limit is. And
well, there's no choice in the military. It's either do it or do it.
Like you either do it or you know, are out. So I think the biggest hurdle I'm having is not so much even coming up with the creative things to do at home, but the accountability to do it at home.
Yeah, and that's kind of the hard aspect of doing this remotely too, is that, you know, if you're coming in meeting me for a session at a specific time, you're going to show up and you're paying for it too. And if you don't show up, then, you know, you're eating that money, and most people don't want to throw money away. But the hard part about the remote programming is trying to hold yourself accountable, because there's a specific hour of the day that you're meeting me. But you do have, and I am checking in on you though at the same time. So if I have remote programming, you have something you should be doing every single day. And I do check Trainer Food. That's the app that I use every single day to make sure people are doing it. And I look for feedback. I always ask questions on there. How did the workout go? Was it too hard? Was it too easy?
Right.
to try to get that accountability there. But I mean, yeah, it depends on what matters to you in your life. Is your health to me is very, very important in
Mm-hmm.
every aspect. So it's easy for me to hold myself accountable in that way. But it kind of depends on the person as well.
And
Yeah.
I think, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Gill, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I totally agree with you, Pamela. It's a time to really tap into what matters to us and to find that inner strength to go for what
Right.
we want.
And I think it's like this whole teeter-totter that we're all on, not just now, you know, but always. But maybe as business owners, we might be feeling it a little bit more now, where, you know, you try to keep the teeter-tottered, right? You try to keep balance within, you know, which is a word that's like so hard to even balance, right? But we have all these different things, and as business owners, small business owners, we're just like probably working harder than we've ever worked to try to, you know, get these, you know, loans put in, and to, you know, care for our employees, and to care for, you know, our homes, and try to do something that remains relevant, and then like still make time for ourselves that we would normally have done. And so it's really like, I think if you keep your balance, at least with your wellness and your health, you're teeter-tottered there, you're stronger to be able to handle the other things.
Yeah, and exercise also makes you feel, well, it makes me feel better as long
Make
as
everybody feel better. I mean, I
Right.
can't tell you how many people will come in and do a cardiovascular session, a bout of cardio, and they feel so much better when they leave the gym.
And I used to hate going in at 5 in the morning. You know, it was like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Why am I doing
Right.
this? And then I would get there, and the playlists were amazing. She has these like awesome playlists that I like try to get from her, and it's just, and I miss like the vibe of the other people in the room. And
Yes, yeah, it's all energy. Everyone kind of feeds off of you. Everyone's tired and half asleep when they walk in, but there's so much energy when you leave, and everyone's in a good mood, and everyone's talking back and forth, and you can just see it coming out of people once they get in there. And that's one thing that's really important right now while we're all quarantined indoors, is just to get outside, get moving, even if it's 10 minutes. Do jumping jacks, you know, for 2 minutes, stop for a minute, do it for another 2 minutes, stop for a minute, and you'll just see your mood change. Even if you're in a bad mood, if you feel depressed, go outside. And I say outside so you get the sunlight at the same time.
Right. I 100% agree. The last 2 days, I was really just, like I said, I hit a wall. The struggle's real.
Get
I'm like,
outside.
I'm in bed. Like, I'm not, like, I can't even function. And my husband's like, listen, let's just go outside. You need to go outside. You need to get some fresh air. Let's, you know, whatever. This is after he brought me home the big Charmin rolls of toilet paper that he found at the store.
I remember being in the military and being on an aircraft carrier, and, you know, our superiors, you know, some of us, they would talk about going outside the skin of the ship, because a lot of times your job doesn't require you to go outside, and you'll be out to sea for 45 days straight and you'll never see the sun.
Right.
And so everyone starts getting really down and depressed, and they keep telling you, go sit outside, and it helps. It really does. And that was one thing I used to do on a regular basis when we would be out to sea.
So with the training, is there a specific format that you like? You have some cardio, you have some strength, you have some flexibility. Like, how do you, what's, to people who like don't know much about exercise, can you tell them how you like to do it?
Generally, when I meet like a client or a potential client, I talk to them for a little bit about themselves, about their body, about their history, any medical limitations that they have, medications that they take. And I kind of take that all in, and then based off their fitness level, I kind of formulate a plan, and then based off their goals as well. A lot of times people, you know, they're thin already. They just want to gain strength. Somebody might be overweight and they want to lose weight. So everything is programmed differently depending on those types of goals. Some, you know, I train men that have hypertrophy goals. That means skeletal muscle enlargement. And so they're going to be programmed totally different as well. But I do think that it's important to kind of have a well-rounded program. And I think that it's important to have the cardio and the strength, at least to some degree, even if your goals aren't necessarily that. And then from the rehabilitation standpoint too, you know, some people come in, they had knee surgery 3 or 4 years ago, or, you know, possibly somewhat recently. And as long as they're discharged from their doctor, or they have, you know, a medical waiver that they can continue with exercise, I kind of continue with that rehabilitation on a different scale.
And that's the great thing about Amber knowing so much about physical therapy and everything, that she's just very good at the rehab. I wanted to ask you about how you manage with the kids, because you have the 4 kids. Like, what's your advice to the moms? Like, because sometimes kids, it's not that I mean, they're all awesome, they're adorable, but sometimes they just don't leave you alone. You know, they want
Oh my gosh.
She is in her car right now.
Don't call me mom. I am in the car for a reason. I mean, let's consider why I'm in the car right now. I'm not inside I'm in my driveway,
Right.
but I am not going to go in there because there would not
I feel
be. And then the Zoom meetings all the time and everything right now, and I have a baby, and I mean, to be fair, I do have some help with the baby when I'm working, but so if you follow me on social media, I've gotten really creative. I do have workouts on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook is Amber Jackson Miller, and then Instagram is Amber Miller. And I've posted a workout with one of my children that I'm actually using him as weight. Most of the stuff you can do with either no weights, which most of them are no weights. I did go buy $2 water jugs from Walgreens, and I used that for a whole workout. So, I mean, it really is just getting a little bit creative with it. And I realize most people don't have weights. So I did have a few dumbbell ones there too. But I mean, just in all of the workouts, probably there's level 1 and level 2 on both of there. And that was something I did through the whole quarantine. Now, California opened up a little bit, especially our county did on Monday. And so, you know, I haven't been making videos since then, but I probably have 3 weeks worth of videos that I did Monday through Friday as one workout every single day.
And we'll be sharing all of your links and things on this video that we'll be posting out to our YouTube channels and on our event page
channel as well too, that has just the exercises specifically.
So if you just give us all those links of how people can connect with you, we'll make sure that they're in the you know, attached with this video.
But I mean, with the kids getting out of the house to do something, go out in the backyard, I'll have them do it with me. I've had them do that. I mean, you do have to stop a few times and just understand that you have children and there's no way around it. If you have a spouse, I mean, maybe you guys could take turns doing the workouts out in your backyard. I don't know if you're able to in Florida, or, you know, different states have different rules right now, but being able to go out and go for a jog. And I'm generally not a runner at all. I teach indoor cycling, and we haven't had classes, so I improvised and I've been running, and I absolutely love running now. And it wasn't my favorite before all this took place. So
yeah, I have to share a little story. I had a friend who's a lawyer, and she hated running, but she loves chatting. And so we started running outdoors together, and we would like gossip all the way. And she started loving it so much. One time, this was in DC, we ran in one of those parks at night, and it started getting dark really quick, and they lock the gates. And that park has had people had horrible things happen. And so she and I ran so fast to get to our car so we wouldn't get locked in. Next day, she couldn't go to work because she was so sore. But I've never seen that girl run so fast. But
that's cool.
But she still loves to run outdoors. And we did the DC Army 10 miler together. It's great because it can be social. It can be fun. The music can make
totally. Classes. I mean, I know I keep going back to the classes, but the energy that you get from group exercise classes, that's probably my favorite group format to teach, is the group exercise classes, because the energy that you get in there is phenomenal.
So what do you think is going to happen with the gyms now, that with the classes and things? How are they going to do the social distancing? What do you think?
So our county specifically has lifted. Restaurants are open with huge restrictions, of course. The gyms have opened here. Well, the privately owned gyms, we do have some franchise gyms that are not open yet, and I'm not sure why. But our guidelines are the 6-foot distancing, or you have to wear a mask. There's no classes right now. I've been told that the classes that it's going to be lifted eventually, but it's going to be limited to 9 people per class, if that, and that only depends on the size of the room as well, as long as you can keep the distance from people. So I do some small group training within the gym too. So it's up to 4 ladies that I train at a time. And they wanted a private spin class this morning at 5 a.m. And they usually just do strength training on the floor with me. And then they sat on all different sides of the spin room, and it was great. I mean, we had the 6-foot distancing going on, and it worked well. So I think just everyone, this is the new normal. And like you guys were saying, that, everyone's got to kind of adjust to this, but I definitely think that the gyms, in my opinion, should open, because I think people need that, that in their lives to feel whole, to feel happy. And
so if you can't get to a gym, like some places the gyms are still not open, like here, would you recommend just going for walks, or would you recommend doing like high intensity interval training, or what would you recommend to people?
See, that you got to be careful there. I would say it depends on your fitness level. So if you were really, 5, 6, 7 day, hopefully not 7, because I think that's too much, but 5, 6 days in the gym on a regular basis, if you were doing strength and cardio and you pretty fit, then, and it was, wasn't fairly difficult for you, but you were already used to it, I think that the 20, 30 minutes of high intensity interval training, HIIT training, would be fine. But if you're just starting out, definitely start with the brisk walking. Brisk walking is actually really effective for losing weight too. I mean, all of my weight loss clients, I usually prescribe that for their cardio on their days off. They can do an incline treadmill walk, because once you reach those higher oxygen, the VO2 maxes, which I'm not going to get into that, but once you get those higher ones, you're burning more carbohydrates. And if you really want to burn off the adipose tissue, you need to keep the intensity somewhat low to moderate.
And I would like to comment on that, only because, like we were talking earlier, I'm about to be 51, and I used to be, a runner, loved running. That's when your adrenaline would kick in. Some of my best ideas came when I was running, but then I had a knee injury and a foot injury and high blood pressure and like all these things, that I can't run anymore. It's not comfortable, and it's not really like a healthy thing for me to do. So I walk like very briskly as often as possible. And I actually have done better walking as far as weight management than I was doing with running,
So you don't have the high intensity to lose weight.
Yeah. Even though I don't get that adrenaline rush that I loved when I was running. So
I mean, some safer ones too, once the gyms do open, are hitting the elliptical. It's a little bit less impact, and you can get a little bit more intense with those. Spin classes are great too for, to save your joints if you're not accustomed to running, but definitely for weight loss. But it's more volume too there, so you want to be able to walk 3 miles, not just half a mile.
Right.
Okay, I'm done for today.
Yeah,
I 3 miles, 45 minutes.
Book on tape, like a book on tape or some great music or whatever, and I'm like gone for an hour. I'm like, see ya, I'm out.
Be mindful of your mood, before you start and then after you're done, and take note of that, because it's huge.
Yeah. And what about a basic strength workout? Like, would you say sit-ups and push-ups, or what would be the most basic strength workout to start with?
Well, considering we don't have a lot of equipment, the hardest thing about working like muscle group to train at home is any type of pulling. So that would be working your back. So if you think of pulling like a lat pull down or pulling back, is because you don't have anything to pull against. I have put some on my YouTube channel and stuff. You can see some back exercises, but some body weight back exercises, which you have to get really creative with. But so you always want to push, pull, press, squat, lunge, deadlift. Obviously deadlift isn't going to happen right now, but I mean, if you have, I've gotten creative with using like a heavy boulder out in my garden. I'll pick it up and I can deadlift with that, just to get some sort of resistance. Squats are great, always squats. You can also get some fairly inexpensive equipment on like Amazon. You can get a TRX, which that's the long yellow and black strap thing, and that can hook to a doorway, and that could be your back, and you could do quite a few functional exercises, and that's one of the first pieces of equipment that I usually recommend to people.
Also those, I don't know what they're called, but I got them at some point in time when I was immobilized or whatever, but they're like those tension rubber band things.
The booty bands is where most girls
the pull bands, and they're like different weights, and you can fold them over and do like, there's so many things that you can do. You can put them around your furniture and
the bands are great too. And speaking of that too, they have the one bands that are just like the little tight booty bands that you put around your thighs, but they're the ones with the handles too, and those are also something that you can get pretty inexpensive on Amazon.
They're pretty inexpensive,
and you can get a pole there too. So but going back to Monica's question, but the squats specifically, squats are great. Just making sure you're doing them properly though, because there's a lot of room for error with those.
It helps if you have a chair under your butt.
Yes, and I use the butt target. Remember the butt target all the time. So people they know how to sit in a chair, but if you take the chair away, you see how people's squat form just kind of plummets, especially if they've never done it before. So I always, especially a new person, I'm like, you're gonna sit. This is your butt target. You're just squatting to the chair. Sit down, stand up. Sit down, stand up. And you really.
Somebody told me once to like act like you're shutting a door with your butt.
That would be more of a deadlift cue, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's more like the hinge.
Yeah,
Because I mean, if your butt's going back, that would be more.
Right.
That's a hinge from the hip. So.
Instead of a gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I really like that the exact techniques that Amber teaches. Like before I met her, I never did the lat dorsi, like the pull down right. I didn't
that pull down.
like my scapula engaged first and then to do it, you know.
Right.
And so there's lots of little things that she teaches, like with a lot of the stuff I thought I was supposed to use my butt when I was really supposed to use my legs.
Right.
And so that's, I think, part of her injury prevention thing. So when she teaches, and you should really pay attention if you ever get her programming, exactly what muscle groups you're supposed to be feeling with that exercise and what to switch on first before you go on to the next thing and the next thing. So the details really matter, especially if she's not there watching you, you know, like.
Right.
So you really go through.
Connection is huge with that. I mean, really, I always tell people in the middle of a movement, I'm like, think about nothing else. Don't think about what you have to make for dinner or, you know, your husband or whatever is happening. Think about firing those muscles that you're supposed to be using right now. Because if you think everything is like you're pulling it out, contraction, pull it out, contraction. And everything that you do, whether it's a hinge or a squat or anything, is just trying to get that length. And then you're going to fire those muscles.
And so you go through with your program, you go through like, this is the proper technique. This is what you should be feeling. This is how many of these you should be doing.
I do prescribe. So generally most of them will have a little warm up. Like I have clients in New York right now and they're stuck indoors and they can't go outside. They can't do anything. And so they're like jogging in place in their apartment, you know, and then they might have 1 or 2 mobility quick workouts, and they want quick workouts because they both work. And so for them, I have to get really creative, and they can't really move anywhere, and their apartment's pretty small. And so it's just doing a warm up, usually a little bit of core strength, a little bit of conditioning, and that might be just 1 or 2 exercises. And then there's always a few stretches that at the end that stretch the muscle groups that you train during that workout.
So I have a quick question for you, since we're like, time goes by so fast. I swear we could just all these things we do. We're like, we could just keep talking. As a trainer and as a mom and with everything that's going on, what is one of the biggest challenges that you're having right now with
Time management, for sure, because I have finals next week, and Sac State I did half this semester in person, and then it just moved online, and all of my classes are physical classes. Obviously physical therapy is a physical class, so that's probably the biggest struggle, and trying to manage it with my children. I do, like I said, I do have help, and so she's great. I could not do this without her. She's our nanny that's here, and so I know not everybody has that luxury, but I just have to because I have so much going on. But
I have to say one thing here too, that with Amber, there is a level of integrity that is with her time management. For example, if she starts the class, like a personal training class, 2 minutes late, we go an extra 2 minutes at the end. She never like stops it early, even though I beg and I plead. She has that. She's laughing.
Is your next client here yet? When's that next client gonna come?
I know.
Like, oh, don't worry. I've already texted them and told them that they're gonna start 2 minutes later than they were initially supposed to. Well, that's the principle. I know it's kind of petty, but it's with anything.
It's not petty. It speaks to your integrity. Like,
and that's it. I always heard how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right. And I'm a time Nazi. My husband tells me that all the time. He's like, oh my gosh, she's a time. If like we're supposed to be somewhere, you better be there. We better be walking out the door.
Right.
And maybe that's a military thing, and that, you know, is instilled in me. And I kind of come from a military background family, so it's normal to me. But I know it might seem neurotic to other people.
No. And this is the other thing, that with a lot of coaches, like if you don't do the work, they just drop you, you know. But with Amber, she checks in on you. Like, are you actually doing it? Like before we started this broadcast, she was giving me a little bit of a hassle, and Pamela was witnessing it, that I hadn't done my workout.
I said, did you do your workouts this week? And she's like, well, yeah. So because you did, I know, because she sent me the payment for the online programming, and I was like, did you do it? And I think messaged you on the app too, and I didn't get a response, so that tells me that you probably didn't read it yet.
Oh, you're busted.
Everybody's excuse. Time. I don't have time. But we make time for what's important in our lives. So that's kind of a BS excuse for myself included. And I always tell people, I'm going to say I don't have time, but that's really not the truth, which I think that I have some viable excuses, but
If you think accountability isn't possible long distance, you're wrong. With Amber, it's totally
And I think that's the biggest, that's a huge thing right now, is like just having somebody like go get your beep out of bed and get it done, you know?
And I take time. I mean, I sit down for like on Fridays this afternoon, I'll sit down for 3 or 4 hours and go through every single client, and I program them a week ahead. So every Sunday at midnight, a whole new workout week comes up. So a lot of times if they didn't log their workout, you have to log, because that's how I progress your program.
Right. So do you limit how many people like that you work with?
I have had up to 30 at one time, and that's programming and in-person clients. So that's both. It's a struggle, and I will get to the point where I will limit it, just because I can't sit there and program people out. And I have people messaging me all day long about clients, because I do meal plans as well for my clients. So they're asking for their meal plans or like substitutes or whatever, pretty much all week long. And then same thing with movements, or they have pain and what they do for the pain. And then I have to send them some stretches to do on their own. So it's just something I have to stay on top of pretty much ongoing all the time.
Right. Well, it's definitely a worthwhile mission that you're on, because you can change lives, you know.
It
really can.
It really does. I mean, yeah, I do this for income, but to me, this is something that I'm really, truly passionate about. And, you know, I kind of started this track probably when I was 30. I'm 37 now. And I went and got my National Academy of Sports Medicine training certificate, an associate's degree, and then I went back to school, worked on my bachelor's, and then I just kept going with it because I'm so interested, and I just love the human body, the way things move, health in general. I love nutrition. I'm really anal about sleep, because I think sleep is a huge part of people's health and their stress level. And so it's kind of, you can't just target one thing. I know I'm a fitness expert, not nutrition, but you have to have that part into it. Yeah, I have to ask about their sleep, because everything's connected. I mean, I take kind of a homeopathic approach to fitness.
And that's what I think. I mean, so Dr. Gill and I, obviously, I appreciate her introducing me to you and the rest of our people that will be able to access this. But any way that we can help, and because it integrates with everything that we're doing, you know, make sure that you stay connected with us. And do we have any questions, Dr. Gill?
No, I just want to say that if I answered a question online for ASPS last night. That's the American Society of Plastic Surgery. I'm a member of them. And there was a lady there who was saying she has 5 kids. One up on you, Amber. 5 kids. And she weighs 215. And
don't challenge her. I have a feeling she'll be like, watch it.
And she wanted a breast augmentation and a tummy tuck. And I was saying that her weight is too high. And I was saying that you need to try to get not just your weight down, but also like look at your waist hip ratio, because that fat that's inside the abdominal muscles, you can't suck out or cut out, you know, we can only do the surface fat. And so these things like the fitness, the eating right, these things are so important to get a nice result in plastic surgery. And that's why like my motto is beauty built on health, because I think the health is fundamental. It's not
so fundamental.
Yeah, it's you can't get a great result unless you've got the health. You know, you've got to make the effort, you've got to make the time. And so
it's like if you're going to paint one of these paintings that we have behind us, if you start off with a crappy canvas, you're not going to have a work of art, you know. So
I have a ton of clients that come to me and they want to get the mommy makeover, or they'll train for a little bit and like it's not happening fast enough.
Right.
But in all reality, most of the time they're not being consistent with their program, and so that's why they're not getting the results.
And we didn't get everything happened to us overnight, so it's not going to go away overnight.
Like, this does not happen overnight. This is a process, but it's sustainable. You know, you could go take any diet out there and lose a ton of weight. You don't need a trainer to lose weight. I mean, you could really just diet if you wanted to, but if you wanted to have the definition and build the muscle tone and develop the healthy habits. And the exercise has so many more metabolic benefits than just body composition, but that's pretty much what everybody wants, is the body composition.
Right.
The
health part of it is just like the best side effect.
That matters more to me than anything else.
Right.
We are out of time, but I want to finish with one phrase that Amber taught me that I just love. She says, skinny people look good in clothes, but fit people look good naked. So
that's the way we should roll. Next one, what are we doing on Monday? Because maybe we'll be No, we can't be naked on Monday.
Monday's Pamela's birthday. We're all going to be here.
Oh my God, 51. You know what? You never know what I might be doing on here on Monday. We're doing Immunity Mondays, right?
All right.
Okay. So we have to roll out with this though. And I really wish that we guys can't hear it.
It's quiet.
Well, we got to figure out how to do like the in and out like music. It's staying alive.
Well,
We'll figure out how to get
Thanks,
them
Amber.
in and out.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Amber. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Likewise.